Actually, I wouldn't give him the satisfaction. Kindly tell him to go fuck himself.
Trapped inside the basement till the sky started to gleam. Yeah, I'm stepping with the...
That's it. UFC 275 is just a distant memory. Mere hours ago, it was everything I had to live for, and now it's no more. We saw a lot of this. Oh, baby. Just so physical. Sticky buns, mate. He's got that farmer's strength. I bet he just pins balls down all day. Slicing him like a nice fresh mozzarella. But the biggest stories were Joanna retiring after a brutal first round spinning back fist knockout. Madalena keeping the hype train going. Maheshte getting us all ready for a hot new prospect. And of course, we saw Glover Teixeira walking in like an absolute rock star and walking out maybe with a bit of regret. That first round was beautiful. Beautiful work from Teixeira. He executed his game plan perfectly. But Yuri got some good ground and pound done in the last 15 seconds. Round 2, Yuri was precise. And, you know, if you're still saying anything about Glover's chin, get out. But of course, every time Yuri was on the feet, he was dangerous, even as he got tired. He had a huge round 3, but it ended with Glover on top, with some gruesome elbows. Glover went for the takedown early in 4, full mount, raining down punches. Threatened a couple of arm triangles. Yuri slipped out due to all that delicious sweat, ended up on top, got his own punches in. Glover slipped out, ended up on top, took the back, threaded the choke. Yuri slipped out, ended up on top. Glover landed some massive shots in the opening minute of round 5 and almost had Yuri out on his feet. Then went for a guillotine, which was possibly not the smartest. Yuri's movement was nothing on what it is when he's fresh. Glover got the full mount again with 2 minutes left to work. And then, with less than 30 seconds left, when he was mere moments from successfully defending his belt, Glover made a mistake. Yuri was on his back like around his neck. Champ was tapping and knew. Even if you're not really a fight fan, don't really know why you're watching this. Probably for this. But even if you're not a fight fan, go watch that fight. My God. And of course, the one we are here to talk about. We saw Shevchenko's precision from that very first shot thrown. Bit slow to start, but when Taila finally went in that first round, Valentina initially grabbed her, dominated the clinch. We thought, we've seen this before. She was landing her knees, her shoulder strikes from the clinch. Classic domination. But then she slipped, and it all changed. The whole narrative changed. Firstly, the champ made a mistake. Not sure we've ever seen that before. Santos got the back, the body triangle, went for the choke. Okay, it didn't go anywhere, but we were all thinking, what if? And in the second round, we saw the strength, we saw the smothering of Santos. We saw a takedown. We saw a close omoplata. Valentina picked up her striking volume in round 3. She tried to get a takedown. Santos popped right back up again. Got her own takedown. Went for that choke again. It was closer this time, but she was on the chin, not the neck. What if? A clash of heads gave Santos a nasty swelling and gave Shevchenko an opportunity to claw this one back. Round 5 was a big old scramble egg to begin with. Found its way briefly back to the feet. It was tense, it was close. It felt like every single move mattered and every single action was like moving the needle. The champ controlled Santos on the ground for most of the latter half of the final round. Santos did look tired. She didn't look as though she had as much like drive to succeed. I had no idea which way this was gonna go, and rightly so, because it ended up as a split decision win for Shevchenko. And still, but only fucking just. Before this fight, Santos was on a 4-fight win streak in the UFC, and her debut into the promotion was the only blemish on her record, and that was a split decision loss. The BJJ specialist was said to be a legitimate threat, with wins over pretty big talent including Joanne Wood, Molly McCann, Gillian Robertson, and Roxanne Modafferi. But apart from those that are paid to hype up these kinds of fights, there weren't many that thought she even stood a chance. Shevchenko has handled every single person the UFC has thrown her way at 125 pounds. And her only losses come at the hands of an equally as dominant fighter, Amanda Nunes, at a higher weight class. So, what's next for Valentina? We see this dominance so much more frequently in women's MMA than men's because the pool of talent is a lot shallower. So this isn't the first time we've been asking this question. Cyborg gave the promotion the same puzzle, then Nunes, now Shevchenko. Perhaps we do need to see the trilogy between those two, but would there be as much glory in it for Shevchenko now that Nunes has been dethroned? And is Nunes going to want to divert her attention away from reclaiming the belt? Of course, it should just be a matter of who is going to be the greatest test for Shevchenko, who's going to push her to her limits. After all, that's her MO, to find her limit as a human. She doesn't set herself goals based on record or stats. She just wants to find out where she peaks. And of course, she can push herself in training, and she does, but the real test comes with the threat of an opponent looking to take everything that you've worked for. But of course, the UFC is a business, and the fans are looking for a source of entertainment. They want drama, they want storylines and rivalries. They want trash talk and reality TV. They don't care for the traditional codes of martial arts, you know, respect, discipline, honour, blah blah blah. Boring. The people's vibe, not mine. My favourite fighter is Stipe. My favourite fighter is Stipe Miocic. The man's a goddamn saint. Nope. They want MMA to be like WWE or fucking EastEnders. They tune in to watch fighters like Colby Covington, fucking Sean fucking Strickland. Not just for the fights, but for all the media, all the press conferences. They lap that shit up. I'm not sure how many people would go out of their way to watch Valentina's pre-fight interviews. It's just not dickheadish enough for them. We've all just gotten so used to consuming flashy, loud, in-your-face media, and now we only get that same buzz from flashy, loud, in-your-face characters. Sad. All of this has led to very public voices such as Chael Sonnen saying that the only smart move for Valentina would be to turn heel, a wrestling term for a character that everybody loves to hate. He says that people actually tune in for those characters in the hope that they'll see them get beat. And he thinks she might be hiding that character within her, John Jones style. And she'd actually have fun, letting it out, playing up to it. But I think that Chael Sonnen is so egotistical that he can't see the world from anyone else's point of view but his own. He also says, and maybe quite rightly so, that she'd get more attention if she turned heel. She'd get more headlines. He thinks that people don't tune in to watch her now because they know that she's gonna win. I say, heel no. Wrestling is a thing. It exists. It's there for you to go and watch if you so please. And MMA is something different, something else, for a different audience. For those of us who appreciate the art and the skill, the expertise and the years of training, and all of the sacrifice that goes into mastering the various skill sets necessary to be dominant in mixed martial arts. One does not need to become the other. And if you think people won't tune in to watch dominant champions, ask anyone who missed Nunes's dethroning if they'd ever make that mistake again. This fight that we just saw was so close. Imagine in that first round where Valentina slipped, imagine if that had led to a first round submission win for Santos. All those what ifs, all those close calls, that's what keeps us watching. Basically, can someone, one, explain to Chael how microphones work? He sounds like my nan trying to make a long distance call. And two, kindly tell him to go fuck himself. Actually, I wouldn't give him the satisfaction. Shevchenko is so good, so technical, that people tune in simply to see someone completely, seamlessly mastering their craft. To see with their own eyes something so rare and impressive and beautiful. And that's what Valentina's purpose is, to show the world the beauty in martial arts. She said, I just want to show my techniques and martial arts in all its beauty. Just like the power, the stubborn power, when one person is trying to prove who has stronger shins, who is going to fall first. Really just want to show martial arts like the idea that Bruce Lee had, the beauty in martial arts. Valentina refuses to get caught up in her own hype. Just now in the post-fight interview, we saw her incredibly humble, saying that yes, that's the point of being a champion, is to always face the toughest competition. Never be satisfied with your performance. So of course she's not satisfied with how close that fight was. She's not under any kind of illusion that there is no room for improvement. Believing the hyper under her game is what we saw Rose in her Ultimate Fighter days get caught up in and get caught out by. This is what Valentina believes sets her apart from her competition. So of course she's not then going to go out of her way to create hype just for the purpose of publicity, purely for pay-per-views. She says she knows what she needs to do in order to keep hold of her belt. That's the goal. She's not living for all this championship lifestyle. She is as focused on her goal now as she was when she was an up-and-comer. And her broad focus, and by that I mean she doesn't train one technique over any other, is something we also saw in Yuri's preparation. And it's something proven scientifically to be effective. You need to give every technique and every eventuality equal focus during training. The more narrow focused you are, the odds show, the more likely you are to fail. Luckily for Valentina, this focus and work ethic comes easy. She loves to work. She doesn't feel the pressure of her responsibilities. Her fighting spirit fuels her to do everything she needs to do to prepare, and then to fight, including all the modern day extras, such as all her media commitments. She's happy to do it. She says she loves the whole process. Every day she wakes up knowing she needs to push herself further than the day before to find today's limits. And she thrives in that exploration of human ability. And alongside her well-balanced MMA training, she uses her training camps to get into the best possible shape that she can. She says that no amount of technique or skill will help if you're not 100% in the fight, physically and mentally. And like so many other fighters, her confidence comes from her preparation. And part of this preparation is in being a student of the entire game, keeping up to date with everything going on in the industry. She analyzes fights that, on the face of it, have nothing to do with her. She just sees it as part of her job, and she shares this extra mile with other notable fighters such as Kamaru and Israel. Carl Jung said, what you pay attention to is what you manifest, and the more you focus on it, the quicker you'll reach your goals. There's no work-life balance in this game. Only obsession, only sacrifice if you want to really reach the highest heights and to stay there. And Valentina has been obsessed with martial arts for 28 years. How many of us can say that we've had such a consistent focus on one singular goal, that we've passed up every distraction, every quick hit of serotonin that's come our way? I have become more that way inclined in my old age, and nowadays do work fucking relentlessly hard in pursuit of a better life. but I've not always been that way, nor am I always consistently that way now. It's incredibly hard. It's definitely worth considering what you're willing to sacrifice to become great, and whether you're willing to sacrifice everything to become a master. I guess it just boils down to your why. We spoke about it a lot in the Yuri video, which I'll link for you on the end screen. You're not going to find greatness, you're not going to find mastery if you devote yourself to something for the benefit of someone else's admiration. You need to take ego out of the equation and see if you still have that same drive. Valentina's drive often leads her to isolation, and she does a lot of her training by herself. She can find outside observation to be distracting and finds her flow, her utter absorption in the task at hand easier in solitude. In the Cheeto video, which I'll also link for you on the end screen, we talked a lot about how important it was to carefully choose the team of people that you keep around you when you're pursuing your goals. But we didn't speak about the importance of also taking time alone to process the expertise you get from those people, to learn more about yourself, to explore and feel and flow without distraction. We're also overloaded with information all the time. If you don't really give yourself that space and time to sort it, to understand it, to extract what's really relevant and important, then information is worth nothing. It's just noise. This need for solitude and to find flow is another kind of traditional idea that Valentina seems to share with Yuri Prochazka, a fighter who always humbly believed the belt would be his. And he was right. And if we look at fighters who sit at the very top of their divisions in the greatest organization in the world, none of them are heels. None of them go out of their way to trash talk or cause offense or create drama. They're more aligned to the traditional disciplines and aspects of the sport. I think there's something in that. You may become a fan favorite by shooting your mouth off, and that may rocket you up the division and give you bigger opportunities, but is it all just a shiny distraction? A shiny distraction from actually doing the work and making sure that your physical and mental tools are sharp enough to get to the top and stay there. As for Valentina, we've seen her challenged more than we ever have before. She is not infallible, but she's still managed to keep hold of that title. Probably partly because she looks at every opponent as special. We might be dismissing them all, but she's not. She never counts anyone out. She doesn't believe in easy fights. She says fighting in MMA is not a dance.
It's a reservation, I said it for the team.
It's real violence and anything can happen. But she also remains steadfast in the belief that if she plays her game in the octagon, no one can beat her. So, what do you think? What's next for Valentina?